Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, you have to go on there and talk more.
They can hear us right now over the music.
The minute you walked in the joint, I could see you were a man of distinction, a real big spender, good looking, so refined. Say, wouldn't you like to know what's going on in my mind?
Yes, I discovered actually, Mandy, they can hear us if we talk over top of Shirley Bassey.
Okay, then I promise not to
we can't have any little private conversations or secret talks about our listeners or about people or any dirt or scandals. We have to hold back on that.
When sins.
Yeah, any private moments.
Believe me, there isn't anything that I plan on holding back. So I don't care about people here. I was just talking to Todd. Oh, by the way, my name is Mandy Goodhandy, and this is my business partner and my lovely co-host, Todd Klink.
And this is the Mandy Goodhandy Show.
Yes, it's one of those, and it's just an excuse for us to go on about certain things and vent at times if we need be. And but it's also to educate a little bit to people out there on the fringe, anything that Todd and I know about, just from our point of view, of course. We do not represent any particular group of people. We're only individuals. And also, if there's anyone out there that wishes to call in or send an email or come into the little chat room in here and ask questions or to educate us on things or correct us or whatever you wish to do.
Or complain.
You're allowed to do that. Doesn't mean we're going to take your criticism, but, we'll listen. I'm just kidding, of course. We were going to talk tonight about
your people.
Yeah, well, kind of the people who like my people. How's that? We refer to them sometimes as tranny chasers. Sometimes we refer to them as T-girl admirers, T-girl lovers, that sort of situation. But it's
an affectionate reference because I've always told people who don't know any better, I go, there is no word for these guys yet.
No.
Because they are not appropriately bisexual, because bisexual means they would like guys and girls, and some of them just like T-girls. That's what they like. And I've met guys who only like T-girls. I've met guys who like T-girls and females, and I've met guys who like guys, T-girls, and females. But the individuals who only like T-girls, there's not yet a word for them.
No, so maybe we can all vote on one. But
yeah, it's something a little more dignified than tranny chasers.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty,
So that's why I like to use the term T-girl admirers.
Yeah.
Tranny chasers, to me, when I say tranny chasers, I actually do mean that a little derogatory.
Okay.
I don't respect them as much as I respect the T-girl admirers because there is a big difference. And we can get into that. From my point of view, I can discuss why I feel there's a difference and what I feel about the two separate groups there. But the other thing, when you were mentioning about bisexual there, Todd, I was going to say bisexual isn't necessarily just someone who is attracted to men or attracted to women. Now we've got the third mix, which is the trans people, whether it's trans men or trans women. Bisexuals could actually be, because we have to stick with the bi, they can be attracted to a T-girl, like you mentioned, or a female, or a male and a T-girl.
I'd have to get up to Wikipedia, and I don't have a computer in front of me, but bi means two, right?
Yes,
so
that's right.
They could. It doesn't say which two.
That is correct.
But in general terminology, because we've got to be simple here. In general societal understanding, bisexual means somebody who likes men or women.
Well, but now it's someone who likes two different.
That's fair.
genders.
Yeah, and labels are. I've always said this. It's not labels are something you choose yourself. It's not up to anybody else to say what you are. You could be sucking penis of men in a park every single night, married to a woman, and call yourself straight if you wish. It's not my business to say you're anything different than that. So yeah, it's labels are your choice.
I absolutely agree with that. I think it's up to the individual. That's why it bothers me sometimes when people come up and ask me about somebody and they say, is that person gay, straight, or whatever? And it's like, I always say, my answer is always the same. Go and ask them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know how they want to be addressed, if they want to be addressed as anything. So I don't speak for other people that way. I definitely don't. Even if somebody asks me about my own particular, I don't want to be put in a box. It's like, unless I decide to, unless I kind of go, yeah, you know what, tonight I'm feeling a little bi. Or tonight I feel a little pansexual. Or tonight, I'm feeling straight. So, but it just depends on the mood and the feeling. So, but the tranny...
Tell us about tranny chasers.
Yeah, tranny admirers. The admirer, I want to start with the admirers only because I want to start on a positive note before I got controversial. Okay, but again, I'll remind you, this is just my opinion. Okay, I'm not speaking for other trans women out there, okay? So please, please, please keep that in mind. It's only from what I observed, and I've been in the world for a while, and I've seen all aspects of it. And tranny chasers, to me, are terrorists. They're kind of like, they remind me of creepy guys that admire us for the wrong reasons, and that's because they want to get their cock sucked or they just want to get off. And in a lot of cases, they don't really care if you're a real, and when I say real, I use that term loosely, a real T-girl, which is someone who's living as the female gender full-time, in my mind. If a man walks into our club, for example, and is wearing stockings, a tranny chaser will go after them too. Anything that has anything to do with something that leans towards the feminine, that is a tranny chaser. I have seen them going after drag queens, and I have seen them going after transvestites. I've seen them go after cross-dressers, and I've seen them go after trans women. So they're just basically trying to get off, is what it is. And I don't have a lot of respect for those type of men.
Is it that they're more fetishizing your gender?
Which is exactly why I don't have, yes, they're fetishizing it.
They're putting you more as an object as opposed to a person.
That is correct. And that's why it's offensive to me. And, of course, when they make their approach, it's all about, I really like T-girls, and I really, I'm really into T-girls. And then they talk you up. You're just so beautiful, you're just so this, you're just so that. And then, of course, when you turn around a couple of seconds later, they're hitting on somebody else. And not that I have anything wrong, I feel anything wrong with, as you know, Todd, I don't judge trans women or people under our T umbrella. We're all going through different processes, and we're all at different development. And but when you're a T-girl living full-time as a female, and you've gone through a certain amount of transition, and then you have someone flirting with you, and not just flirting, a lot of them play the game. It's like they make it act like they really are interested in you. And it's not just even physically, it's you're having a good conversation with them. And so it's offensive when you turn around a second later and they're hitting on a cross-dresser that looks like my Uncle Bob with a wig on. And so I'm kind of looking at this going, it's not as much of the way the cross-dresser looks. It's that offends me. It offends me the guy offends me for the fact that he is doing what he's doing. And I'm fine with people coming up to me going, you know what, I'm so turned on by someone wearing a dress or someone wearing stockings or someone. I'm okay with that. I don't get offended by that. It's like, okay, you're into stockings. Cool, that's fine. Okay, I get it. But don't come up and talk to a T-girl or even a female in a nightclub or anywhere else and make it sound like you're talking to them because you find that they're special or there's something attractive about them, and then you're after everything else that walks around in the room at the same time. And I find it interesting that men feel that that's okay. well, I'm a guy. Okay, that's not an excuse. It's like you might be a guy, but you should be a gentleman.
Well,
And
it's a guy thing. Guys are like that. They're pigs.
the predators.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have to be that way, though, Todd. That's all I'm saying to you. But like I said, I'm okay. It's like whatever you are, you are. And if you're a pig, I'm fine. I respect that if a guy goes, you know what, I'm a pig. Okay, it's like that's just what I'm like. I'll sniff around everybody.
Honesty is always the best, of course.
Yes. And you know what? And you'll get way more respect from me. You know, if that's the way you approach me and you basically tell me I'm turned on, I want to get off. You know, it's like, do you want to have fun with me? You know, it's like, I'm not looking for these men to ask me to marry them. I'm looking for them to be honest with me. And, you know, and you're right, Todd. It gets, you know, that's what's going to end up getting you what you're really looking for. So, tranny chasers, not so much. Okay, if you want to be that way, that's up to you, but be honest about it. Then the T-girl admirers, we've dealt with them for a long time. Todd and I have, from the beginning. And a lot of them are so respectful. You know, intelligent, educated men. They happen to respect a lot of trans women. They respect the fact that we are living the way we're living and we're doing, you know, what we want to do because it makes us happy. And I've had many, many conversations with many T-girl admirers out there, and a lot of them are just wonderful men. They really are, and it's so I have no trouble with that, even in a bar situation. And I've seen those types as well go from girl to girl, but that's okay because they're not trying to feed you the lines, you know. They're coming over, talking to you. They might buy you a drink, and they have a conversation, and they're not making a commitment. So that's fine. You're not making a commitment, so move on to somebody else, have a conversation, do whatever you want. That's what our club is for. People to socialize and to meet other people.
And yeah, we've seen some of these guys. This club's been open for 6 years. We've been doing events for more than 10 years, and some of the guys that came to the first thing 10 years ago, I still see. And I see them as admirers. I talk to them. They talk to me and Caesar and our staff respectfully about the girls. You know, even some of them might be pigs too, but it's a little different. Yeah, they respect the journey of the trans woman, and there's a match there because for whatever reason they're attracted to trans women, but they're not just objectifying you as a fetish, as a dirty little secret. Like they seem to respect what you're going through.
It's nice. It's nice to see that. It's nice to meet men like that on occasion when they come into the club, and they come up and they open up a regular conversation, and it has nothing to do with your boobs or how you look or, you know, the fact that you're a trans woman and you're in a nightclub atmosphere. I mean, just because sometimes I will dress sexy in the club doesn't mean I'm there to get picked up. You know, so the other thing I wanted to talk about regarding this subject was the sex work, because it seems to go hand in hand and it ties in with in a lot of situations in our club. The girls are providing go-go dances, and so they're basically going around trying to get men to pay for VIP dances. And I think what happens under those circumstances as well, you get another type of T-girl admirer that comes along, and it's all about objectifying for money. You know, it's like in feeling because you are a sex worker, then you can be treated like you are a product. And to a certain degree, you are paying for service. It's a dance. You're paying money for that, but you're not handling produce. And you still have to remember that you're dealing with human beings. And so a lot of the times the way a man will approach and the way he talks to you can be very degrading. And it's funny because I always throw it back on them, and I end up making them feel bad. But I don't end up feeling bad because I'm making them feel bad. I'm trying to teach them a lesson.
Do you think they would talk to females in the same way in a strip club or massage parlor environment, or do you think or are they talking to you like dudes?
That's an interesting way of asking it, Todd. I don't know because I haven't really I'm not female. I've never worked in that environment, so I don't know how they would talk to the females. And I've talked to females that are actually strippers and such, and they get respected a lot more. The men wouldn't get away with talking to women like that in that kind of an environment. I don't know what they're like with the sex working girls. I do know what they're like with the strippers. And female strippers generally are quite empowered. You've met the female strippers out there a lot.
Well, yeah, I'm a little more. It's still sex work, but there are. I have met female strippers who work at clubs that are very, very strict, where it is just dancing, and they might be rubbing their bum on a man's crotch through his pants, but that's it. Mm-hmm. But I've also met strippers where it's more like sex work. They're just calling it stripping. So it's a variable, but I just thought about that, about like how because there's a certain game. I have straight male friends. There's a certain game that they play with females, and it's bullshit. And they admit it's bullshit. It's bullshit. They're talking the talk, they're walking the walk, but they have to say things in a certain way. And sometimes I'm observing around here, or just the way the guys are with the girls, kind of aggressive and kind of like.
That subject was something I wanted to approach in a whole separate show, but I'm glad you touched on it. And it's that whole game, the game. And it goes both ways, Todd. The girl playing the game with the guy and the guy playing the game with the girl because of the fact that sex work isn't 100% decriminalized yet. It hasn't gone into play, so you have to do this word game.
Yeah.
And it's played by both sides.
Dancing around the subject.
Yes. And it's funny because some of the T-girls may take advantage of it with the men, and some of the men also take advantage of it with the T-girls. And it's interesting to see it, but I would love to have a whole show on that, because the reason I would like to do that is because I'd like to actually have one of our T-girl go-go dancers or even sex workers that come to the club. They don't do sex work in the club, but they are welcome to come and enjoy the space to actually speak on the phone about this. And I know we're never going to get a man calling in, and talk about from his point of view, but it would be nice if we could. T-girl admirers are quite shy, and I don't know if
things have changed. I think we could.
Well, we'd have to approach probably a couple of them in particular that we know would come on, right?
I think if we sent something in our newsletter that said specifically, because it's just their voice.
Yeah, but sometimes people's voices can be recognized too.
No, I know. It's just I'm just saying. I'm saying think positively. I've met more and more lately. There's guys who are out, like who actually bring their friends from work, and I don't mean like a million of them. I mean like 3 or 4 of them, but who are like they actually bring their male friends from work. They've come out at work and said, "Hey, you know what? I like special girls." They call them.
Special girls, as in what? Riding a school bus?
I know it.
The short bus?
It's another label. I think it's affectionate. They call it. It's not.
I know they're trying to be, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I know you're right. Yeah. It sounds kind of fucked, right? But like lady plus sounds like fat girls too. So, I mean, the labels are all fucked. But anyways, they mean well. So, and all the point is that there's a few guys out there who have actually crossed that line. Mm-hmm. And it's the final frontier. Maybe it's another 5 or 6 years until there's going to be like an Ellen DeGeneres type TV show or something where a Trannie, a T-girl is,
Well, it certainly would be interesting if we could get more men coming forward and talking about it publicly, not just, coming up in the club and talking about it, but talking publicly about it so people understand it. Because you brought up a really good point earlier about the bisexual situation. There's people who join our World on the Fringe.com website, and they have an option of, if they decide they want to choose categories, they have that option. And a lot of the men have called themselves bisexual. But when they click on what they're looking for, it doesn't say anything about men, and it doesn't even a lot of times say anything about female. It'll be clicked on T-girl. So either they're looking at it the way I'm looking at it now, is the fact that bisexual could be, it could be a choice of any two genders, and including the T-girl, so they might be looking at it that way. Or they're looking at it as, well, I need to call myself something. This is the topic to stay focused. The topic of this show is admirers or chasers or basically the guys who are into T-girls. I can tell you, I've had long conversations with the guys at the bar, and they've been kind of troubled. And it's a common thread where, because there isn't a lot of support, or there's not a label for them. It's not even that they need a label. I mean, North America's fucked up about labels, but because we are fucked up about labels, these guys, they'll say things like, I'm bisexual, and then I'll ask them, and I'll be like, oh, what does that mean to you? Like, what do you do? And then they'll tell me very clearly, I do not know. I'm not even close to attracted to men. They'll be like, once I thought maybe, I questioned myself, so I even looked at gay porn, and I was like, no, I was horrified. It wasn't interesting to me. But they think they don't even understand what it is, or I've even seen guys call themselves gay, and they're into T-girls only, and they're traumatized by it. They're traumatized. They're like, oh, I have this secret, and my friends don't know that I'm gay, and I go, what about you's gay? I go, not to try to just go, what? Where is the gay in what you're doing? It comes down to the genitalia.
Yeah, no, but I mean, they don't, and it's a relief for them sometimes. It's just sort of, it's just, there's so little resources for these guys.
Again, the thing is, though, a lot of them do end up being gay, and I'm not saying that's something you become, but it's something they start being. Is there a practice? I don't know. Is it like a law practice? I don't know. It's like a lot of men out there have started with T-girls and then moved to men.
That's different from what you used to say.
What did I used to say that they didn't? Oh, they used to go the other way.
No,
is that what you're talking about?
You used to be very adamant that because gays would always think, oh, somebody who likes T-girls is just a faggot, and they're just, it's a stepping stone to go for real guys. But I think that's changed. You've as we've met more and more and more. Yeah. I'm just asking you. Tell me more about that. Do you think is that a significant amount of T-girls?
Yeah, it's become that. It's
more than we thought originally.
Well, that's only because I've met more.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I've met more men, more admirers. Yeah.
Statistical analysis going on.
At first, when I was first meeting these men, when I was working as a sex worker, and so I met tons of men that came through to see me, and they were all, you could tell there were heterosexual men that had a liking for a penis, but they didn't want to attach to a male. But they wanted someone who looked and acted and in every aspect being female. But it was all about the genitalia. And so I used to explain to them all the time, because they go, oh, does that make me gay? And I don't know how many would come, and they had never been with even a T-girl yet. And afterwards, it was all about that. It was about, well, am I gay now? And I would go, why would you feel gay? Well, I just, sucked a cock. And I said, do I look like a man to you? And they would go, well, no. And are you attracted to men? Well, no, I'm not. Then why would you be gay? And unless it's explained to them, they didn't understand it. And then they went, well, yeah. And I said, okay, if your girlfriend put on a strap-on and gave it to you up the ass, would you be gay? Well, no, it would be my girlfriend. Well, I said, you have to look at it that way. Take the genitalia out of the mix here and look at it as, what is it you're physically attracted to here?
Yeah, look at the sensations.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, more and more I've met as I went along, Todd, and I've seen them be true, devout T-women admirers, and then I have seen them at the gay events. And the interesting thing about our club is we have so many different events that there's a crossover. There never used to be, but you see it even more and more now.
Well, maybe they're just more comfortable with the fluidity, because fluidity of sexuality is a separate topic entirely. I'm only going to go on for about 60 seconds about it, but it's something that I'm absolutely fascinated by, and it's something one of my heroes, Dan Savage, who has a podcast, talks about a lot, and about how female sexuality is utterly fluid, and how men are much less fluid. It's very rare for like a guy to be 100% gay when he's 23, and then at 26 to be, all of a sudden I like women, whereas females are all over the place. Like they'll be straight, then they'll be pan, and then they'll have a relationship with a woman for 2 years, and it's all legit. Like it's not, it's just they're all over the place. But it seems with these admirers that are males, there is a bit of fluidity. Where and again, it's not about the labels. It's about.
So it's the way they're brought up, then, right? Or society in general.
It's society in general. I mean, come on, like it's all. I mean, it's all constructed. It's very North American and a bit European. But in South America, they certainly are not into the labels. It's a whole different world down there. I know a lot about that culture, and it's much more blurry and not. If you're somebody who's into dabbling, you're into dabbling.
I think a young boy is screwed the minute he goes to school, and if you don't come from a family of KKK people, it's unless your parents brought you up that way. In a lot of cases, they don't, and the parents aren't. They don't even touch on the sexualities, but especially when you're young, obviously. But once you get to school, and as soon as a young boy is called a faggot by another young boy, then it becomes into effect. It's like, oh, my God. It becomes a concern. But, men latch onto that and get offended by it a lot more than a little girl would, for example. You don't hear little girls calling each other lesbians, do you?
Right.
Little girls could kiss each other and hold hands with each other, and nobody thinks anything of it because it's not a sexual thing. It's not a sexual thing when you're a little boy either. It's, your chum, your friend, and it's like, but then it becomes that. People end up getting uncomfortable about it, and then they freak out, and especially then it gets to the parents. The parents will freak out, or somebody's going to freak out, and then it becomes a taboo.
Yeah.
And so that's probably why it's harder for men, but what has that got to do with being gay and feminine are two different things? And, and as soon as a little boy is feminine, all of a sudden he's a fag, and it's like, okay, there's such a thing as feminine men who are heterosexual, and there's a hell of a lot of masculine gay men out there.
There's a lot less feminine men who are heterosexual.
You think so? Nowadays, have you seen what's going on?
I don't see a lot of that.
Really?
Like, truly, like, I don't know.
Darling, I'm going to tell you, I used to be able to spot gay men a mile away. I'm having a hard time.
Oh, no, I share that with you. I have no gaydar anymore. Fuck that. I have to ask Caesar and Fausto to tell me who's gay and who's not, because the way they can look at it is, is he like me or not? They don't look at his mannerisms or if he's flaming or anything. There's this more like a psychic thing, like a dude thing. Mm-hmm. They can just tell vibe-wise whether he's got the same essence as them. But yeah, no, I can't tell.
Even if they're feminine?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah, I've had to rely on them for 6 or 7 years now.
There's actually people in the chat room.
Really?
Oh, and somebody's even talking. I like it when people actually...
We have listeners?
Well, I guess we must have listeners. I don't know. I'm as shocked as you are. I know we get a lot of people who listen to the archives, but whether they listen live...
Are they saying anything of substance or that we need to address?
Let me see. Let me just read this here to you. Isn't this supposed to be your job, Mr. Producer?
I know.
Okay, Bob in, I think it's Michigan because it's MI. I think that shows like this is a good start. Distinguishing between a T-girl admirer, I am not. See what happens? As soon as somebody types something else in, the chat thing bumps and then I can't read it anymore.
The flawed.
Yes, I think that's a good start. Okay, distinguishing between the T-girl admirer, I'm not attracted to men. I like women and T-girls. Tasha says, I agree, Bob. Bob says, I have been to the club once when it was in Mississauga. I was made to feel really comfortable. Creative One says, T-girls are totally unique and wonderful people. The issue is the taboo aspect that surrounds it in common society. Creative One also says, the challenge often in going to Mandy's club is finding genuine T-girls that would like more than making money and being a sex worker and getting to know an admirer. I'm so glad you brought that up. Thank you.
Say that. Could you talk about that topic?
Yes. Thank you, and God bless you, my darling, or, whoever your higher power is, bless you. The situation, what I've observed, is there are a lot of T-girl admirers out there who want to meet a T-girl for a relationship. But what you need to know is, my darling, when you're coming to a situation of a nightclub that is girls working as go-go girls, they're there to work. Okay? And it's a possibility if you're Brad Pitt, okay, then you come in, you might end up, getting a girl who's not going to charge you money or want you to pay for dances. Okay, let's just look at reality here. It's the same anywhere, okay? It's unfortunately to do with that. If you if you come in on a Thursday night, for example, and this is the other thing, at our club, which is Goodhandy's events, which are our T-girl events, are being held now at Club 120 Church Street, downtown Toronto. Okay, we have the T-girl events. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is the T-girl Lust, which is the go-go girls who are offering VIP dances as well in the private booths. And if they have any sex with you, that has to be free. They cannot charge you for sex. But a lot of sex can go on because we are operating as a private sex club with membership. So the Thursday night, though, Todd, am I right or wrong? There's still a lot of T-girls that just come in on a Thursday, which is more of a social night, that actually are not offering dances, and they are looking to meet men.
I just talked to Danica Dreams on the phone 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about the grand opening, and she was saying she wanted to know if she should come, and I said, oh, you should. It's going to be more of a dance club night. But she said, and I know she wouldn't mind me saying this because she's always looking for love in all the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, she goes, I just don't understand. It's just these girls, they're always working. She goes, they're always working. And she goes, I want to meet a man. She goes, I'll make more money working in my hotel room anyways. She goes, if I want to work, I'm going to go to a hotel room. I'm going to work there. She goes, when I come in, I want to meet somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And and date them or fall in love with them or whatever. But it's challenging, right? Because the thing you said before is, will they take you home to their family?
Yes. If a man is not willing, I'm talking about in an ongoing relationship. If a man is not willing to introduce me to his family or his friends, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in having a relationship with you.
No, and they should pay you.
Well, this is the thing, and that's where the difference comes in, and I've explained this to Todd about the way I operate in the club. If a man comes up to me at the bar and is trying to pick me up and going on and on and on about this, that, and the other thing, it's a situation of, okay, I just saw you going up to the booth with other girls and paying them money for dances. Now you're playing a little game with me as if you want to date me. Okay, that's not the way it works. Okay, so if you want to get me upstairs in a booth, you have to pay me because I can see right through you, and you're not going to play that game with me. I've been around too long. If I meet an intelligent man, educated, intelligent man, who comes up and talks to me and basically, and this is the way I have to say it, ignores every other girl in the room, at least for that night, honey, there's a damn good chance I would date you. But unfortunately, that's not what happens. It's like, and I'm sending this word out to all you men out there, okay, whether you're trying to pick up a female or a trans woman, if you stick with us for the whole night and show loyalty and don't show interest in anyone else in the room, we're yours. You're guaranteed.
And I can put in a guy's perspective there. You've referred to me as a gay man several times in this show, and I don't really like that label, but for lack of a better word, it's fine. I'm generally a gay man, but I'm a guy. Mm-hmm. Guys are guys. So, guys, that's a lady thing. That's a girl thing, whether it's a T-girl or a female thing. That's just a girl thing. So girls don't like, there's a bit of a game there, too. You have to hold back. They might be looking at other girls, but you better not get caught. Because to me, none of that shit makes sense. I'm just saying, none of that. That's just what you just said. I'm like, wow, they have to pay attention to you the whole night. But like, what if there's other chances?
But I didn't say they had to pay attention to me all night. I said they really shouldn't be looking around and try to find something else that's out there.
Well, no, but that's the game, and my straight guy friends have told me that too. They have to kind of do that, So, but that's,
I don't think that's asking too much.
That's fine. No, that's your perspective.
And I do understand that, okay, let's say I'm sitting there and then he realizes a girl just walked in with bigger boobs than me and he's a boob man. I get it. Okay, it's fine. Okay, you want to go wander off to her, don't play a game between me and her.
Don't come back. That's
yes. Oh, no, you definitely don't come. That's not even an option.
Sloppy seconds.
You go off and you hit on somebody else. And believe me, I'm not that damn sensitive. I don't get offended by that. In other words, if you think I'm going to be upset because you hit on another girl, I won't be because I don't care. I've seen it a million times, and I'm used to it. Okay, but don't think you're going to come back to me after she dumps you or decides she's not interested. It's not going to happen. And it's not even because of sloppy seconds. It's a human thing. Now, I know what you're saying, Todd. It's like, it seems to be a woman T-woman thing, but it's not a guy thing. Okay, I understand that. Okay, that's probably why I ended up with my transition. I've always felt that way. It's just the way it is. But that's how we are, and I'm trying to give some advice out there and saying, if you don't do it that way, you're not going to get anywhere. So don't come moaning to me going, all these girls are workers, and I really just would like to meet somebody, and then you turn out to be a jerk. It's like you deserve to be alone if that's what you're going to do. I mean, I don't know how many times I've said that to Todd. I'm open to meeting somebody and having a relationship. I really am. It's just not out there. So obviously I'm missing something, and the guys are missing something. So how are we going to be able to get together? I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. It's like I've tried. I know I'll never meet a man in our club. And, I'm not trying to get sexually. God, it's like, if I meet somebody and I want to have sex with you, oh, sure, of course, let's have fun. But that's fine as long as it is what it is. But when it comes to a relationship, you go to a nightclub and you think you're going to get a relationship with a T-girl, it's going to be a tough one. You can come to the club and meet one maybe and, have future dating. But again, don't get caught coming on to somebody else. With the world the way it is now with Facebook and Twitter and all these girls are networking, okay? If we're not networking, we know people who are networking. And believe me, my darlings, you meet one T-girl in this city, you've met all of us. Mark my words, you're not going to be able to hide your dirty dog shit in the backyard.
When I first started hanging out with T-girls, this was pre-internet. I remember sitting on a patio with 3 working girls, and me as a working boy and another working boy, and all of our cell phones are ringing and our clients were calling them. But I remember the T-girl network. Holy fuck! It's like if you want something to be spread quickly, just call one. Just call one of them, then everybody knows within 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's interesting because I don't think the guys get it a lot of the times. It's like we're not stupid, and the sooner you realize that, the better. I don't know how many times that some T-girl's boyfriend has hit on me, and it's happened to everybody. I know that, but I'm talking about in my situation. This is for me personally. If you have a T-girl girlfriend or even a girlfriend, don't come near me, okay, because you're not going to get anywhere when I find out, because that's one of the things that I wish more T-girls were aware of. Don't fuck with someone else's boyfriend, okay? If you think it makes you feel special and you can put a little notch on your bedpost, it doesn't. It just makes you look cheap and slutty. Cheap and slutty is not something that's going to end up getting respect in the long run. And that's what they do, Todd. You've seen it a million times.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, why would you feel good about taking someone else's boyfriend home and sucking him off and then bragging to everybody that you did it? How does that make you feel good? You know what? You look bad. You really do. It's like there's nothing special about you. You're just lowlife, and you're cheap.
Be open about being a slut. Be
that's
open about
fine.
Fucking penis. But yeah, you're right. If you're all proud that you max somebody's boyfriend, that's pretty.
No, I'm so supportive of sluttiness. I'm fine with that. It's not one of my biggest things, but I've been known, and if I see something I like, I will have sex with them. But so the sluttiness isn't the part that I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you go with someone else's, boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how does that make you feel special? It's just ignorant, okay? It's like we are a small fucking community. T-girl, there is not millions of us, my ladies out there, okay? If we don't stick by each other, we're fucked. I just wish more than would understand that. We are fucked. Do you get that? Everybody wants to stand up and go, T-girl rights. Fuck, ladies. Start sticking it together. Get together and become a community, because otherwise we're just going to be divided and conquered. So that's the part that bothers me. Leave other people's boyfriends and even girlfriends alone. Support your sister. Support her and go, wow, it's great. You're in a relationship. I hope it works out for you. Because if we don't stand together, there will be nothing. And that's why people look upon us a lot of the times as fucking jokes. And that's what they do. No matter what you're thinking out there, people are looking at us like a bunch of fucking jokes and a bunch of boys dressed up in dresses, mincing around like a bunch of idiots. We have to stop this. We have to show some respect for ourselves and stick together and become a strong, united community. It's like all this competing back and forth and all this caring who's the most beautiful. I mean, come on. What does that matter when it comes right down to it? It doesn't matter. So I'm pleading with all you ladies out there, please, have respect for yourselves and each other, because we can kick ass. We can get everything we've always wanted, including respect from everyone else around us. Now if everyone turn their hymn books to page number 5.
Yes.
We will sing Bringing in the Cheese to
No, that's
Cheese.
good. That's why I wanted to make sure you were done. I didn't want to interrupt that because it was a good little speech.
The thing is, Todd, I don't like to stand on platforms and give lectures and shake my fist. I usually like to do it in a more subtle, kind of fun way, but it's just getting so frustrated to me, Todd, because it's scary, that it's getting to this point. That we have to be this way, so nasty to each other. And when I'm watching Twitter and looking at people's tweets and everything, it's like they're all tearing each other apart. That fucking message board I won't even go on about, okay, with that man that owns it think he's doing everybody a favor, okay, and all the girls are on there threatening each other. And the reason they're doing it is because this is allowed to happen. We're allowed publicly to tear into each other like dogs on the street.
Well, you use the word competitiveness, and I'll refer. A friend of mine years ago told me from a T-girl perspective, she said, Todd, if there is 6 of us in the room, there is always the second runner-up, the first runner-up, and the winner. She said, we're always looking around, and we are hierarchying ourselves.
Yeah.
And you know, and maybe because a lot of the perspective that I have observing it is in a working environment, and it's a business, but it's not a good way to conduct a business. It seems so intense and so stressful from the outside looking in, because I mean we've all got to pay our bills, right? But it seems the approach, and as a former sex worker too before, it's like I was always realistic. It's like people have their tastes. People like different things, and everybody has the taste for somebody, but it just seems so intense and so stressful where the girls are just competing with each other like crazy.
It is. It's because we're new. We're new to the world, and let's face it, all the T-girls out there that know this, we're like 12 years old. Mm-hmm. It's like we're all young when it comes to being in T-girl years. We still are stumbling around like we really don't know what to do. And you know what? That's okay. We have to find our way. And that's understandable. But you know what? It doesn't matter how much surgery you get done, and it doesn't matter how beautiful you are. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It's about how much you like yourself. You know, and Todd was right. Some guy could come into our club, and he's into a certain type. That doesn't mean you're not beautiful. That just means he's not into you. You know, do you know how many men come into the club and not interested in me because I'm over 40? I'm okay with that, because there's a lot of men out there that want a T-girl that's over 40, want someone who's got a little more season to them, you know, and carry a conversation. Then there's the other guys that are into somebody else, and you know what? You can't take that personally. And it doesn't make you feel any better just because you try and steal somebody else's person. And that's what goes on. It's like, and I've mentioned this before to you, Todd, sometimes in that club, it's like there's a chess game going on. Everyone's maneuvering and moving and do all over the place. And the girls are all playing a game with each other, and it's insane to watch it. And I have to watch it. And I have to observe this. I have to observe these wonderful T-girls out there that are my community treating each other that way. And it just eats me. You know, it eats away at me. And, you know, and I'll tell you, and a lot of the T-girl admirers out there and the tranny chasers instigate it without realizing they're instigating it. And maybe they do realize, and if they do, you can go fuck off. But if you're not and you're doing it accidentally, please think about it before you do it. When you play one girl up against the other, that's dangerous. And it's not helping our cause. So if you love us and you actually are admirers, don't do that.
It reminds me of something I know you wanted to bring up on this topic, is there's a certain type of guy. And, you know, and again, we are talking from our perspective, which is a club world perspective.
Yeah, that's right.
We are not out in the, you know, day-to-day life of the many different types of T-girls and trans women out there. There are T-girls and trans women who are just blended into society and who would never want to come to anywhere.
And there's also ones out there that have bonded and are creating a community, and I love that about you. To get back, sorry to interrupt there, Todd.
Yeah. So there's this type of admirer, and they piss the fuck out of you. They really, really annoy you. And as the devil's advocate and sort of I always like to look for the positive, but they really irritate you, and I'll let you explain why they irritate you. You know, I always go, well, that's their trip. They don't want to, like, they aren't into, like, taking girls into booths or even getting together with girls. Their trip is being the driver, being the buddy, but really they're into the gossip and they're into and I'll let you take over from here because you use the word instigate, so.
Yeah, the instigate in person was when the strangers come in and then they hit on one girl and then make it obvious they're hitting on another girl and it creates conflict. They might not see it instantly that the girls are competing with each other, but they are, and it's a mental thing too. It's very insulting to do that to people, to come in and to choose things. Oh, I want that apple because it's rosier than that one. It's like you can't do that. It's just not right. But the situation that Todd is speaking about is some of the T-girl admirers out there are starting to get involved with the girls' lives. This is a nightclub. It's not a real world. It's a nightclub. We have to create a fantasy and an illusion and like a fun place for people to come and have a good time. Gentlemen, if you come in and you get involved with the lives of the T-girls while they're fighting with each other and get involved with it, that's a stupid, dangerous game you're playing. Don't get involved with the gossip and get involved. And, I have guys come up and asking me, oh, where's so-and-so? Talking about a T-girl that might not be there or whatever, going, how would I know that? I don't know where she is. How would I, and I'm always saying the same thing. We don't live in one big house. And it's like, and even if I did know where she was, I'm not telling you. She's entitled to have her private life. Or I haven't seen so-and-so in a while. Where's she been? Okay. I'm going to tell you that? I don't know you. And sometimes they even ask me for email addresses. I like to contact so-and-so. And I'm going, what is this? It's like they're entitled to their privacy. If they wanted you to have their email address or contact information, they would tell you it.
You find that you get irritated by people a lot, don't you?
Well, I already told you in last week's show that people are,
It's people are idiots, or whatever you said.
They're idiots, which is Scottish for idiots, and a lot of times they do irritate me. But the thing is, Todd, I have a lot of patience as well. I must have, otherwise, there'd be more dead bodies lying around. But the thing is, I am patient to a certain degree, and I do understand that some people are asking innocently, and they just want information or they're concerned. But the thing is, it's like if a T-girl or anybody for that matter wants you to contact them or know where they are, they'll get a hold of you.
Well, that's different. That's a privacy thing. But we're talking also though.
They also try to get information out of me, Tom.
Yeah. Well, there's the guys who are into the gossip, and that's you have high standards, but you're Mandy Goodhandy, and that's who you are, and you have your persona, and it's not just a persona; it's a genuine level of standards. I've always said this about you. You want. And we don't have a visual here, but if there was like a yardstick, you want everybody to be at the top of the yardstick, especially the T-girls. And you just said yourself, they're only 5, 6, 7 years old, and they're only halfway up the yardstick, or a quarter of the way, or 2 inches from the floor. And you want them all at the top. It disturbs you at your core, because you will fight fire, you will walk through fire for the cause, but that's why sometimes you end up having to take breaks from the nights and stuff, because
I have to.
It disturbs you too much, and I'm always like, they can't. They're not there. They're not there yet.
But how can it not? It's like I have to take it personally because it is very, very personal. Because I want T-girls to be right up there. I want them to see the potential they have and how amazing each one of them is. And then when I see the bad behavior, and when I see them disrespecting themselves, and I see them disrespecting each other, I look at it and I go, oh my God, it's like I can't deal with it. I really can't. I'm too sensitive that way. It's like I get mistaken as a bitch. Okay, that's a word that's really a loose term. But the thing is, a bitch is somebody who doesn't like you and is bitchy with you. I love them. Unfortunately, I do, because I know what they're going through, and it hurts me to watch it, because I know the struggle, because I've done it myself, and I see myself, and I go, oh, my God. Believe me, it's going to get better. It is going to get better. Running around pretending that you're happy or thinking that making money and running around and doing this, that, and the other thing is going to improve your life, it's not. You have to go within, and you have to become ladies, and you have to understand that and become strong. And so, yes, Todd, it affects me when I'm watching it, and yes, I have to take breaks because I just can't deal with it. And I keep my distance from the girls because, unfortunately, you get a situation where as soon as you talk to one of them or give them advice because you really want to help, all of a sudden you're their friend. But the problem is they abuse the friendship. So it's almost like I have to disassociate myself from the girls that I care about because I have to keep a distance from them. I don't want to be like that. Why would I want to? So I'm on a little island by myself going, I have to keep my distance because they're never going to learn. And if they want advice and they want to ask me something, then come up and ask me something directly, but I will give you an honest answer. You're not going to get the veiled over answer. And this is what happened. Now, Todd, you know this. I've had girls come up and ask me something directly. It's like, oh, do you like my hair? And it's like I'm going, the important thing is, do you like it? Do you like your hair? That's all that matters. You have to like what you're like. Or they ask me something and I'm very blunt about it, and then all of a sudden again I'm a bitch because I'm being honest with them. It's incredible. That one girl, do you remember? I don't know if you remember, a while back we were doing a video shoot. She comes up to me and she goes, Mandy, do you think I'm too fat? And I said, first of all, I said, you have a beautiful face. I said, you could probably lose a little weight if you want to do video, but you're not fat. And then the next thing, she's in the bathroom, and I can hear her really loudly talking to another girl going, I can't fucking believe that Mandy said I was fat. And I overheard her. And I went into the bathroom, and I said, excuse me, I said, don't ever ask me anything again. Because if you want to ask my advice and I give you an honest answer, that's not being nasty or bitchy. That's being honest with you.
Yeah, that's telling you video models are something that is extra special in society. They need to be in shape and la.
That's the thing. It's not as if I turned around and said, you're ugly and fat. I didn't say any of that. I said you could lose some weight. I didn't even say she was fat. And she wasn't fat. She was asking me about video, and that's just the way it is. Unfortunately, in video, you have to be a certain size because otherwise you look really big. We all know that. I don't know if someone's calling in. I get confused with these things.
Oh, yeah. I texted you about that. You can answer it when you're ready. It's no rush.
Do you know who it is?
I do. It's the same caller, Miss Jones. She said she'd wait. I said I don't think we should answer right now because Mandy's on a roll and it might just throw things off. But
she doesn't listen anyway. Remember last time? She wrote to wait and she called in anyway. But the thing is, it's like we only have, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're almost going to have to wrap up. But I appreciate her phoning, of course, because sometimes it's. But we don't need two T-girls ranting on at the same time here.
I just think. Yeah, I think this is one. I think she'll understand this too. I think this is one of Mandy's finer moments. And the thing that just clicked with me, because I've understood how bothered you get by it, but sometimes I don't as a person. But I can't because I realize you have a very small, fragmented percentage-wise of society. As a male who's gay, for lack of a better word, I don't look at other gays and go, oh well, because you're a fucked up gay, that reflects on me. Mm-hmm. Because there's so many of us.
Yeah.
So you're looking at it as you want your community to actually get it together.
And I'm only looking at the T-girls that I'm amongst. And It's like I said, and I'll keep stressing this, there's a lot of amazing T-girls and T-ladies and trans women out there. They're incredible, established people. They're very, self-secure and, happy in their lives. So it has nothing to do with that. I'm just talking about the ones I see around the club, the ones who are in the industry, so to speak. And I'd really like to see them, like get strong, get together and pull it together somehow. That would be wonderful.
And we're talking about a very small insular world.
Yeah.
We're not in denial that this is just Toronto. It's not the biggest city in the world. We don't have 5,000 T-girls, as you say, all living under one roof together, running through the meadows, holding hands, as you say. I'm quoting Mandy's lines. These are not my lines. But yeah,
well, we're going to sign off because the show is over. But thank you for listening, and those listening to the archives, thank you. And Todd and I always have a good time with this, and we hope you enjoy the show. And we'll be back on next week. It's every Monday Eastern Standard Time at 7 p.m. And we do have our worldonthefringe.com if you want to join and enjoy the site. And, of course, our Club 120 on Church Street.
All right. I'll talk to you in about an hour.
Oh, good night.
Bye.